Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shimuji Baba ki Jai. Good, good. I was saying the other day that if we think that a conclusion is going to be the end of our confusion, then that's a mistaken conclusion. We may come to Satsang hoping to get some answers. In fact, we may be waiting expectantly for some words of wisdom which could be the ultimate answer. But the truth is not like that. You see? It is the end of this seeking. You see? The end of this seeking is the resting in your own beingness, in your own self. Yourself does not need an answer. It is way beyond these notions of problems and solutions, questions and answers. Is the sound all right? Sound is not so clear. How about now? Is it better now? Some are saying it's good. So we'll go with that. So I was saying that if we go from confusion to conclusion, you see that same conclusion is going to be the new confusion. Therefore, to remain in the unborn, to remain in openness, in emptiness, is to allow yourself to not rest on a mental concept, let go of all ideas. The non conceptual answer is the answer. You see? What is the non conceptual answer? We played this beautiful Kabir song just now. He said, how do I go to my parents' home? I'm yearning to go to my parents' home. How do I go to my father's home, let's say, where there is no sound, there is no sight, nothing can be perceived, nothing comes and goes there. And yet I'm yearning to go there. How do I go? So you cannot go the way you think. We cannot go the way we think. can only go by discovering where we are already. You discover that you have never left the destination, in fact. You can never leave the truth. So, as a first step, we can stop the intellectual volleyball or ping pong or whatever we are playing. Whatever notion you may have about the truth does not come close to the truth. The truth that my father showed me is indescribable. So, if it's indescribable, how can I share it with you? I can only hope that His grace makes it happen for everyone here. But I do know what can seem to get in the way, and that is your pride, your idea that you can come to some answer, that you can achieve this thing that we call enlightenment. So, stripped away from that arrogance to come to the nakedness of emptiness is enlightenment. Who are you without a conclusion, without concluding anything? What is left of you? Even nothing is a conclusion. I'm hearing the nothing. You see, but even nothing is a conclusion. Not even nothing. Not even nothing. Don't rest there. You see, don't rest in that intellectual space. Let that come and go. Because your yearning to find answers can become a purely intellectual or mental sort of drive, and that will only get in your way. And I hope Guruji's grace is making sure that he's not letting anyone rest with their mental conclusions anyway, although they do seem to sometimes provide some momentary relief. That's why I said that we have confusion, then we may hear some master or somebody, or we may read a book, and then we may pick up a conclusion which may momentarily seem to clear the confusion. But actually, it is not like that because the roof of the intellect is always leaky. You may seem to plug it with some answers momentarily, but those answers will only create a bigger hole. So, what has happened to those who have been in satsang for a while? They've realized that their existence is much broader than just the mental space. Whereas earlier they were just under the delusion that all they are is the mind. So if the mind said, I want this, or I don't want this, I want freedom, or I want happiness, then they felt like that's all there is to them. They felt like that is all there is to them. But now they realize that it's just a tiny aspect of their being, which can keep, like Papaji said, can keep twittering from time to time. But it means nothing to my to my reality. So if you're trying to plug the leaky bucket with a lot of spiritual water, that is not going to work. If you think now you have a lot of spiritual knowledge, it is only going to trouble you. Empty your bucket. How will it leak? And with an empty bucket, you see that you're already in the Father's house. The whole bhajan at the beginning was about how do I get to my father's house, my parents' house. But what if you never left, but only imagined that you did? Even in the worldly way, if somebody said to me, Ananta, I want to come to your house, I would first have to ask them, but which way are you coming from? From which direction? Are you coming from Singapore? Are you coming from Turkey? Are you coming from America? Are you coming from England? So there is no real way or path, no answer the way that we are expecting the answer to be. It's just a big letting go. So freedom is not for the experts. It is for the beginner. If you're very advanced, you're very far. If you're empty, you're right here. Can you suffer from something that you don't know? Only our knowledge makes us suffer. Only what we think we know. Only that false knowledge makes us suffer. And that false knowledge is just the dust in the mirror. And the master has a very simple job of cleaning it up. But what is our desire may be to collect the dust, thinking that it's gold. It is not gold dust. Everything that we think we know is what I am calling pride. And our pride is the only thing that gets in the way. The great Indian sage, in fact, maybe a contemporary of the Saint Kabir, was another sage called Rahim. He said the lane is very narrow. The lane is very narrow. If there is me, then there cannot be God. And if there is God, there cannot be me. So if you want something from God, if God must mean something to you or bring something to you, then the darshan of God can seem elusive. If you let go of you, forget about you, then all you see is God. You see? And many times we have the tactic that we're going to quietly bring this me, you see, hidden in our pocket. And just when we are having the darshan of the truth, this one brings its head out from the pocket and says, ah, what did I get because of this? Is this really it? I made it. I got it. But it doesn't work that way. If there is you, there is no God. Because the lane is too narrow for both. Only one can walk on it. How to be rid of this me? That's the only question that remains, isn't it? If it is as simple as that, that all that is needed for God to be is that I or the me must go. How to be rid of this me? Huh? Huh? It's not there at all. That's why this works. You cannot catch it here. You see, cannot understand it, cannot even feel it actually. You see? Because many times we have this idea that okay, I can't understand it, but I have to feel it. I have to have a feeling about it. But feeling is also perception. What is it about you that you don't perceive and yet you know to be true? That's a good question to ask actually. What is it about you that you don't perceive and yet you know to be true? And you know it's not a belief, you see, which can come and go. You know from the depth of your heart, you know. Everyone has this. And it's very simple. One says the sense of existence. Good. Close. You see? Sense of existence. I am, one says. Amness. Very good. Very good. Who is aware of this amness? Who is sensing the sense of existence? You say the sense of existence is there, but who's sensing it? Is is anyone confused about that? Has to be you, no? Isn't it the most direct? What tells you that you are aware of this voice? Do you have to refer to your mind to become aware? And is this awareness not aware of itself? Being aware, copyright, Rupert. It's aware, no? You're aware that you are aware? Then what is it that you want? If the truth is that simple, but our desires are very complicated. What we want from the truth is very complex. In fact, nobody can give us that. The truth is readily available. Take. You see? But what you want from it, I cannot give you it. And anything that you may feel like it is a worthy ask, come on, I've worked so hard to come to this truth. I've been to so many masters. You see, I've read the higher scriptures. I deserve something in return. You see? Yes, you deserve to go. So forget about everything you think you know and know yourself. Without a way to know yourself, without a path, without a practice, you can continue your practice later. For the moment, I'm saying nothing against practice. Right now, without needing anything at all, what is most obvious to you? You are most obvious to you. Everything else is secondary to the you. This you is your father's house, is the beloved. Clear? But, okay. The but is nothing but the voice of your desire, claiming to be your friend, actually the trickster. You see? Do you realize that when you have the but Ananta, you see, you see, it may come across as very humble, but actually it is the voice of your pride. It is the voice of what you think you know, putting on the mask of humility. Let it go. Nothing that you can say after but is true. In fact, nothing that you can say after I am is true. Even whether I am is true is questionable. Who's with me? How many have I lost? The ones raising the hands are the ones I've lost, or with the hand? What will you do now when there are questions, no? What will you do with the answers? Just add to your knowledge, know more about the truth which cannot be known here. So the play of question and answer, if it is useful in any way, is only if you see you're allowing the answer to wipe away everything that you think you know. You see? And for that you don't need for your specific question to be asked. Because as meaningful as you may think your question is, it means nothing in reality. And if I am deluded to believe that my answer means something, then I would be stupid too. So the only job of these words or pointers, if there is such a thing as a job, is to allow you to let go of this suffering space of the mind. You see? Therefore, you could use the words of satsang and add that to the suffering space of the mind. And in that way, answers are not helpful. Or these words could make you empty. So these words are like the cleaning mop. All spiritual words are just the cleaning equipment. You see? What do we do? We build monuments to them. So we make, that's why Guruji says, don't make tattoos of my words. Only allowed to keep the concept that you know before you hear the sound of the click. Only that you can keep. The clicker was not firing. That is all you need to know. Now, okay, let's start fresh. Now, that's it. A true seeker only needs to take that as the truth. What do you know? Before the click, that's all you need to know. What went away? What still remains? In a way, this is the click of death. If you dive in without knowing how, without knowing what, you want to hear the best joke in the world? Tell yourself something you think you know. At least I'm very honest. Too difficult or clear? I tell you an easier way. Yes? But you have to do it. The moment you hear the instruction, you have to follow. Yes? So all you have to do is jump forward and backward at the same time. Then, did you're free. Still thinking about it? We'll try again. This may be the last satsang. Want another one? Where are the opposites? Where are they? The truth and the false, the up and the down, the crying and the laughing. Where is all of that? Okay, one sounds urgent, so we'll read that. It starts with but capital BUT, and I'm sure this one is the voice for many actually. But I cannot even hear you, Father. I am exhausted from looking after my Alzheimer mom and disabled brother. I cannot connect with myself. Being one of the Papaji old school, I'm supposed to be able to disidentify. The truth is, I'm back at the beginning. Don't even know if I can stay in satsang for long. Will be called away when the doctor phones soon. Please bless me with clarity. Okay? So don't go back only this much. Okay? Don't go back because whether you realize it or not, it is still the voice of specialness which says, but I've been at this from Papaji's time. You see? And how long will you have this story? Go further back. Why stop it that you were already at least in your teens when you met Papaji? Now go further back. Go back right to the beginning. Then don't know what you want. Even the prayer, which is good initially, but now because you've been at this for so long, I want to tell you that even to know that you want clarity is to know too much. Surrender all of this. You say, bless me with clarity. Maybe what you need is huge confusion. How do you know you want clarity? That's why you are confused. Let go, let go, let go. Empty, empty, empty. Don't know how life should be, then you cannot complain about it. The one says, Father, you have come and arisen in this house, and there is no place for anything or anyone else. Yet some are here, and I actually have to fire them all. I am like Jesus on the temple. I need your help and empowerment to do this accurately. I love you. Forget about it. Forget about it. Nobody can do all this. Nobody can see clearly or accurately or become empowered. Just forget all this. So I want all of you to surrender one thing here today. You see? And you can bow down to whoever you feel most devoted to in your heart. It doesn't have to be this expression of Ananta that Ananta is meaningless anyway. So, you see? But whatever you feel devoted to in your heart, surrender that which you think you want. Just let it go. It's all a big story. He'll say, but that's what brought me to satsang. Forget it. But I may leave. Forget it. I want the truth, the highest. Forget it. I only want to be at your feet. Forget it. Return to the innocence of a child. I'm just saving you all a lot of trouble actually. Otherwise, you keep playing this game of confusion, confusion, conclusion, conclusion. Okay, let's take some question. Michael has had his hand up for quite some time. Can come in. Michael?
Can you hear me, Father?
Yes, yes, yes. Still can't see you, but you'll show up on the screen in a moment if you keep talking.
Okay, well, I'm not exactly sure what I want to say. um, just felt like to come in front of you and just be in this this openness
I
and
always confuse the two of you. Are you the one who I met in London, or are you your twin?
yeah, we've met a couple times. Yeah, no, I'm the one that met you in London. Yeah, and I sat with you in Bangalore for a few
Yes.
months.
Yes. So
So
how's
somehow
everything?
it's good. It's good. There's just like this feeling just to no words can really describe the feeling. but just
is it a
just to
feeling?
expose myself. Like
Yeah, yeah.
when these the desire to speak with you arose. Sorry, the sun just
All right.
peeked through the window. The desire to speak with you arose. Then it's coupled with this this feeling of needing to expose something. But it's clear now when I'm speaking. It's just a thought.
You know what? Just give me a moment. I'm going to mute everyone again, and then I'll unmute you because
It's good. I'm gonna close the window. So
good. Okay, this is good now.
and if there's an echo, let me know because you're on like a external speaker. So.
No, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. So there was a urge to come up, and now as you're speaking, you're finding that the whatever words are coming up are not so meaningful, or the story doesn't seem to have any power. Is it like this?
Yeah. And there wasn't really like there's never really any like concrete story.
Yeah.
Like it seems to play for me now like the thoughts are nothing. Like there's no substance to any thought unless I like give it some substance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what comes is like this, and it's for 2 years now, like this energy, just like it feels like someone's at the door, like someone's constantly at the door, like
Mhm.
just waiting, like for like any little slip, and then it wants to slide in, and
Yeah.
kind of play like it's like the one that's living here or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's constant, so it's like some part of me wants to get rid of that energy, but something even like feels more true just to like not want to get rid of the energy, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah. In fact, if it comes in, you see, if it comes in, it cannot really do any damage unless you say that what it is saying is the truth. So it's not the appearance of the thoughts, you see. So if you're talking about the knocking being the attention, and it's asking for attention, then if attention goes to a thought, it's okay, it's fine. You see, but if you mean by knocking, it wants you to buy the story, it wants you to believe what it is selling, then you can let it knock. It's okay.
it's strange because it doesn't feel like the thought, like it's like a thought. It feels like just like a tension, like I even went to like an acupuncturist. I was staying near Sahaja for some time and saw like one of the Sangha members act as an acupuncturist, and she said there's just so much built up tension,
Hmm.
and like sometimes it arises as anger, but I don't find so many like it feels like maybe the thoughts are hidden or something, or like there's some subconscious thoughts which are not very clear, like what I'm holding on to. And so I just felt to come, and just whatever is being held on to, if anything, is just to, let it go. Let-
Well, one principle that seems to work in this world is that nothing that you resist ever gets healed. You see. So if there's a sort of blocking, saying no, no, you can't come, then I don't feel like that is. Of course, with Guruji's grace, everything is possible, but that might not be the best course of action. So this tension, if that would also be allowed to come and go, what would happen? You would just be tense for a few moments, or
It
maybe
dissolves.
hour.
It dissolves kind of immediately, like in the moment, even like, and I notice it's like I don't know why I would be holding on to any tension, like. like
Can I tell you a secret though? I'll tell you a secret. We don't know why anything. You see, whatever we think we know why is all nonsense. So to recognize I don't know why is beautiful.
yeah, and be okay with it and not try and figure out why.
Of course, because what can you figure out? Why are you? That is the fundamental, isn't it? First you are, and then you have experiences, and we are trying to figure out all the experiences which are subset of your existence. But why are you? You see, why
Well,
do you? There is no reason. All the reasons we make up just to keep the intellect quiet. We can call this a leela, or we can say it's all for love, or we can say that the unmanifest wanted to experience itself as the manifest, but it's all nonsense actually. Useful only to the extent that if it keeps the intellect quiet. You see, that's why the masters give us these answers, but they don't mean anything fundamentally because all of them presume that that which is unmanifest could have a want, you see, wanted to be entertained, and that's why the lila came. You see, so if awareness could get bored, then I'm fine as a human. Anyway, we are digressing. So the fact is, the fact is that this why is the most useless question in this universe. A much more useful question is who, and it's just a change of one alphabet, isn't it?
so there's something else that was coming up when you were speaking before. You were saying like everything that comes after the I am is not true, you know,
It's just a
like
story.
just a story. And then you said something more jokingly, but it catches. Like, well, maybe even the I am not true. Like,
Yes, it's very questionable whether it, because true and untrue is also fundamentally not true. But let's operate under that paradigm for a moment. And in Vedanta, there is a standard that has been set for truth. You see, and most of us, what we are sharing in Bhagwan's lineage is primarily derived from Vedanta. So, what is the standard of truth that is set in Vedanta? Everything that comes and goes is not real, is not true. But fundamentally, most originally, even this sense of being comes and goes. So this I amness, also I experience its coming and its going. I experience the deep sleep state in which even I am is not, and yet I am. You see? You see? But the sense of being, as we refer to I am, is not. So even this I amness is does not match up to the Vedantic principle of everything that comes and goes is not true.
the I amness, like the beingness which manifests with the waking state. Is it
It is
like
that which the waking state manifests.
yeah?
See, first I am, then all of this play of time and space and the world, it seems to appear within that.
But is it a different I am? That was, and I didn't feel like asking these questions, but somehow they're coming
Oh,
up.
it's good. What do you mean by different to what?
Like the I amness during sleep, and
Hmm.
then this feeling of beingness arises.
Yes.
Uh,
So when we refer to in satsang I amness, we are referring to the sense of beingness itself. The I, which is, even in sleep, is just what we call the I. You see?
not am.
The am is the
Lives.
present, the sense like that which wakes up and goes to sleep is the am. So the I which is amming or not amming stays constant, independent of whether am or not am, whether being or not being.
So the only truth in like this level that you're talking, like when Vedantic level, would be that I, but prior to being.
Yes. You see, that is the only thing, quote unquote, which comes, um, which passes muster with that filter. You see, and that's why we refer to that as reality. You see, because in Vedanta it is said that only that is real, which does not come and go. So you may remember that I used to ask these two questions. You see, one was pointing to the sense of being, and one was pointing to awareness. So the first question is, if I say to you, can you stop being? Can you not be for a moment? You will look, you see, and you will notice that there's a sense of existence, a sense of beingness here, which is unstoppable. You see, but if I ask you, are you aware now? You will notice that that question is independent even of whether the sense of being is experienced or not, empty of even the need to be or the idea of being. So it is the being which wakes up, and we say it's so intimate that we say, I woke up, you see, and it is the being which goes to sleep, and we say, I went to sleep. And yet, there must be a constant witnessing, a constant awareness of all of this to even say that this change happened. You see, if you were there only on one aspect, then you could not be the witness to say that I went to sleep and then I woke up. So the I must be constant. You see? Just like you cannot say, Ananta, you were wearing a brown shirt the other day and today you're wearing a white one, unless you were there to witness both. In the same way, you witness even sleep, which is the absence of even the sense of being. You see? Otherwise, how would you know there is sleep? It would just be a sudden change in the waking. If there was no awareness of sleep, that is, no awareness of even the absence of being, then you would just notice a sudden change in the way of being. Suddenly, from night it becomes day, and you wonder what happened. It's like a time lapse or something. But it's not like that. Even now, if satsang gets very boring, you go to sleep. You say, and I say, Michael, you see, yeah. Sorry, Ananta, I went to sleep. I'm so sorry. I didn't sleep. You see, so you're aware of that. Otherwise, it would just feel like, why is he shouting?
Yeah, somehow like you bring us back to total emptiness,
Yeah.
and whatever concepts are being used feel like they have very little meaning.
Yes. That's good to hear. I'm happy to hear that because that is, if there is an intention, then that is the only intention.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like when for me, if there's an intention even to understand what you're saying, because it's like something wants to follow and understand, but that's what creates like the tension.
Yeah. Yes. I'm doing my job very badly if you can understand what I'm saying. Mhm. Mhm. Many times, what can happen is that we do understand what is being shared in satsang, but that is only because we are doing like a convenient listening. You see, and what is that convenient listening? It's confirmation bias. So we come to satsang just to confirm what we think we already know, and then we feel like my understanding, which is conceptual understanding, got deeper because you wittingly or unwittingly did not hear the rest of it, which was doing the cleanup job of what was said earlier.
No, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Oh, good to see you again. Very happy. Thank
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
you. Yes, yes. Yeah. You remember they were here, no? Michael.
Gopal, is that Gopala?
It's Gopala. He says hi. It's not so convenient to turn the thing. Maybe.
No, it's okay.
There's one you'll be able to see on Mira's screen. Sangha. It says Sangha.
I will look for it.
Yeah.
So many people now.
Uh-huh. Okay. One says, when there is no being in deep sleep, how can someone be woken up? Because the very stimulus required the presence of being, that is an alarm clock. It's so funny. We were just speaking this yesterday. Not yesterday. My sense of time is very off. So the other day, you see. So the sense of being is there first. Mhm. Sense of being is there first. I think I read that Buddha said that nirvana is the absence of becoming. Is this a useful definition? Yes. It is useful to the extent that it cleans you up and makes you absent of becoming and needing any tool. Till then, it's a useful tool. Okay, one says, my mind is completely confused. I'm even having a feeling that I'm not understanding English no more. I trust that this should be good. That trust is good. The trust is good. So your mind is completely confused. Okay, I want to give you an experiment. Can you allow your mind to be confused, but you not be confused? Are you your mind? You see, this experiment is for everyone, no? Because all of us feel this way. The minute this monkey start jumping, we feel like I'm jumping. You see, but are you just that? Are you just this? It's just a tiny aspect of your existence. I'm not saying you have to deny it and say it doesn't exist, although fundamentally it doesn't exist. You see? But the point is that even if it seems like it exists and it's dancing around, isn't there more to you? Why limit yourself to just this? So I would invite a contemplation where you say to Mr. Mind or Mrs. Mind, hey, be completely confused and let me see what happens to my reality as you are confused. Once you allow that, you cannot suffer anymore. Because then the mind can throw all its tantrums, it can go blue, doesn't touch you. It never did, but you start to see that. And then you don't come to satsang, you see, expecting there to be clarity in the mind. It's an unreal expectation to expect that the voice of confusion one day will become clarity. Don't expect that leopard to change its spots. Let the leopard be. It'll become a tame cat. So all of you who feel like your question, you still have a question and it's relevant, you can type it again, please, so I don't have to scroll back so much and find. And many times you may be done with the question already. Master, how to be detached with the mind as it plays the major role. Satsang. Satsang is a good antidote. To surrender is a good antidote. Self inquiry is a good antidote. All the pointers are available to you in every satsang. You see, use one and dig deep with that one. Don't change too much, you see, because what happens sometimes is we keep changing. Today I'm going to surrender everything, everything. Everything is father's problem. You see? Then the mind says blah blah blah, blee blee blee, and we say, I have to deal with this. You see, what do I do? Then after a few minutes we say, oh, the mind is back. What do I do? Okay, surrender doesn't work. Let me do the inquiry. Who am I? Oh, it's working, working. The blah 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 went away. You see, so but that's not the inquiry working. The inquiry was, who are you? You see? And then if we just make it this expectation that the inquiry should silence my mind, then that stops working, quote unquote, in that way, and then it's back. No? Then we say inquiry stop working. Now what do I do? You see, oh, do 20 Surya Namaskars, you see? or or chant your mantra 10,000 times. Yes, yeah, yes, yes, that's working. You see? But if it's all about this expectation of getting something, then none of this can really work the way we expect it to work. So pick one thing. It can be anything. It can be chanting, it can be inquiry, it can be to remain open and empty, it can be to use any of the pointers in satsang and dig that well really deep. And many times we stop digging just when the water is there. Because that's when the mind can be the strongest. Yeah. Oh, it's close to hitting water, no? So let's bring everything that we can. As Guruji says, the mind comes with its cousins to attack us. So if you say to yourself that everything is my master's problem, then don't sell it cheap. When the mind comes and says, oh, what's going to happen to that property of mine? And master's problem. It doesn't mean your body becomes inert. It only means that inwardly you become open and you don't take on anything as a real problem inwardly. Outwardly, the body can move as it is meant to. The next one says a very good one. He says, my mind tells me you're a bully, but I'm only able to laugh. So I know you're doing a good job. I've been called worse. Yeah, yeah. This one said to me, what did you say? What did you say? The butcher of Bangalore. First branding. The smiling axe man. Yeah, I remember. And the one who gave me the brand asked herself out of the Sangha very fast after, soon after. So, Meaty churi? Yeah, I've heard this. Sweet knife. She's so proud. It can feel like that. One of the first times I was in satsang with Guruji, somebody came up on the stage and said to Guruji that he saw Guruji in a chai shop outside in Tiruvannamalai. And he came up on the stage and said to Guruji that I saw you in the chai shop and something here just wanted to throw my hot tea on you. You see? It can happen like this because the mind wants to resist this one with all its force. Mhm. So I'm not expecting a red carpet from your mind. Mhm. And the thing is that I noticed this expression and I see that this man is quite a softy actually. And yet, the version that your mind paints for you is can be quite different from how this expression actually is. Of course, one thing I do notice about this expression is that it's quite relentless. It's quite relentless. So maybe that's what it takes to be um, the strong aspect of it. Yeah. Another child in satsang one day was having a tantrum, and I said to her that if I join you in your delusion about yourself, then who's going to save us? Because when we're having the mind tantrum, we just want, oh, but why doesn't Ananta accept, you see, that I'm actually this person and this is actually happening to me? And if I accepted your personhood like you do, you see, then who would help us? One says, I can sing a song of it, having strong reactions by this softy. Yeah, the full sequence is what I'm understanding. Okay. One says, hello, Father. What is the key to dispel all delusions? I tend to become paranoid at times and act aggressively towards others, but I want to be loving to all. Thank you for your time. You're very welcome, India. I see you. I've not seen you often here, so I'm going to say that just try and be in satsang as much as you can. You see, because the mind can expect a sort of a roadmap or a template or an answer, and that's what we've been talking about today. But there's no template like this. If there was a template, then it would be published by now, and everybody would have gone through it and become free. So, so our delusions are our false conditioning, and everybody has a unique set of false conditioning. And because every expression has a unique set of false conditioning, what then the key that is needed to unlock it and for it to crumble is also unique. Nobody that I've come across who is free has become free in exactly the same way as anyone else. That is the beauty of consciousness. It does not enjoy redundancy. That's why it makes every fingerprint different, every leaf, every snowflake, everything seems to be unique. So in the human condition, while we still have this human conditioning, it's a unique set of conditions that all of us have. You see? So when you come with humility to a master and you work along with the master in this way, then you'll find that you may not even realize, but your conditioning is getting wiped away. Just the other day, one child was here, and I was sharing with him that when he came to satsang, he was quiet, like this, and full of questions and strong intellect and things like this. And just over a year or so, he's been in satsang, and I can see there's so much spaciousness, there's so much growth. Like Father says, no, Guruji says that with Papaji, I may be misquoting him, but I'm paraphrasing. With Papaji, I did not learn a lot, but I grew a lot. I'm sure I messed that up. So if somebody knows the right quote, please tell me. But that was the essence of what I got from what he was saying. You're not getting a lot of stuff here. You're not really learning something, but you're just in the presence of satsang. Something happens where you become open and empty, changed a lot, or transforming a lot. Thank you, thank you. Okay, next one says, Father, does surrender, faith in one's personal God, fit in this surrender pointer? Yes. If you can bow your head down to anything at all, it is enough. It doesn't matter what you're bowing down to, as long as it is with integrity, as long as it is not a business deal. You're saying, I bow down, therefore, then you will give me this. You see, then it could be anything. Doesn't matter. Because everything is God anyway. Yeah. Ah, yes, Joanna, where is she gone? Uh-huh. Can you put your hand up again, my dear, so you'll come right on top and I can unmute you.
Hi,
Hello.
hi. It feels a bit calmer now. Um, like everything seems a bit calmer, but maybe
I
still
got
it's
your message
it was good to
also, my
come up
dear.
still.
I did
Sorry?
receive your message as well.
Yeah,
But somehow I've not had the space for the answer. But maybe it was best that it happened this way. That's
it's
good.
okay. I felt some answer was coming in some way anyway through some videos and some time as well. So yeah, it's okay. Um, it just feels like there's some struggle
Uh-huh.
happening here still.
Let
And
Let me see, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't see it. I know the answer will be, but it's not here right now.
yes,
But what happens after satsang ends and it comes
yeah.
back? The kind of thing.
It's really close, and just today and other occasions, it's felt very clear that I am here, and they're not me. They're not what I am. So they can say what they want. So when
Hmm.
it's like observing, or just letting something be and not resisting, um,
Yeah.
then that made sense. But sometimes when this real resistant feeling, or something like oh, and
Hmm.
it's coming in like a very, at the moment, visual, intrusive, really unpleasant, and I don't want to see it. Um, but I guess I don't need
What kind
to.
of visual? Can you elaborate on this? You
Just
said something also, but maybe like
yeah,
this, if you can tell me like this. Yeah.
just really unpleasant. unpleasant scenes of things that you don't want to see.
Like something from the past or imagining
Yeah,
something.
imagining, but it's not that I want to
Conflict.
imagine it, but it's coming like that.
Imagining what? Like scenes of conflict or just some
Yeah,
energy description or what kind of?
yeah, just some kind of action or something happening which is very unpleasant, and it's involving me, and I'm doing something wrong, and yeah, inappropriate. It's like this. Yeah,
Like what could you be doing wrong, for example?
that I
Like
would harm.
behaving
Yeah,
badly with someone.
yeah, that I would harm someone in some way.
Ah,
Not they're not true at all, but I don't want to. I don't want to see it because it's like trying to say like it's something I would want to do or I would want to happen.
yes. You know what this reminds me of? Um, I won't take names, although you may figure who I'm talking about. There's one Sangha member. She said that, Father, I have this fear that I'm going to kill someone. You see, I have this fear that I'm going to kill someone. And she's the sweetest, very sweet child, you know. So, so, so I said to her, then what? You will be like a singing assassin. And so what happened, when we joke about these things, when we laugh about these things, is that this idea that I don't want this to come, and the minute the mind hears I don't want this to come, what do you think the mind does? They say yes, yes, okay, yes, thank you. You see, this will not come. No, it's saying this is it's invitation. You see, saying, I don't want this to come means now it has your trump card. You see, anytime it wants to make you dance, it has to press that button. You see? So can we do one experiment together? And
Yeah,
I'm there with you as we do this. You allow everything to come. You see, you can close your eyes and welcome the bleakest visuals, the strongest ones. You see, and know that I'm with you in your heart. Don't be scared of anything that is coming. Everything can come, you see, and it can stay for a while if it wants to.
but it's not so much. It's
Yeah,
like a more of an energy or of something that you would normally want to resist, but it's not visually showing anything because I'm
yeah,
not resisting it,
yeah.
it seems.
See, that's the key itself.
Mm,
You see, and of course, in satsang, you have all the energetic support that you need. But even when you're not in this physical sort of satsang, then you'll notice that as you are not resisting it, you see, and sometimes you may feel like my master is with me, so I'm not scared. You see, he's holding my hand, so
mm,
I'm not scared. Anything can come. You will notice that this, which seemed so scary, was like, just like when we were younger, we were scared of the shadows sometimes. But as we matured out of that fear, we realized that there was nothing.
mm,
And sometimes it does happen. You see, when you invite the mind, if you do it with too much expectation that nothing is going to come, that in a way still becomes a resistance, and the mind says, "Okay, I will show you." You see, and it brings you a lot of bleak things. You see, it brings you a lot of stuff which you thought you didn't want to see, but you try and keep that welcoming attitude, and you will realize that only your being is infinite. You see, only the being is infinite. The mind does not have an endless supply of nonsense. It runs out.
mm.
Everything that is false runs out. So if you meet it in your spaciousness, in your fullness, then let it come. And by the way, the trick is that this is not just for the stuff that you see with your eyes closed. It's any life situation.
Yeah.
Everything can come.
Just from all angles. It really is from all angles, and really a lot of unpleasant things at the moment. Well, yeah, they are. It's not nice. And
One trick I have for you is that instead of saying it's coming, you say it's going.
yeah, that does. And yeah, it was before like saying thank you, like saying thank you more, and
Yeah.
that it's coming up to go. And if you're allowing it to be there more, then it's okay.
Yeah.
There's still a little feeling of wanting it all to go though, and to feel good, to be past it. But
You will be. You will be. Like I said, that there's not a endless supply of this conditioning. There's not an endless supply of these vasanas, as you may call them, and all of this gets released. You see. So really, if you're not building more judgment about it, we're not adding more resistance to it. It is actually true that it is not coming. It is just going.
yeah, because the resistance is the same. It's bringing it closer as well, isn't it? And that's what I've realized, because it's very unpleasant. Um, I don't want I don't want it to be here, so I'm like trying to push it away. And yeah.
So when we become open and we are getting to emptiness, then all of this has to leave our conditioned system in a way. You see. So treat it as auspiciousness instead of unpleasantness. I know it
What
can
do you
sound
mean? Sorry.
utopian,
Yeah.
but I was saying that if you can not label it as unpleasant, you see, if you can just say this is just something that has to be seen through, and it is nothing in itself. It just I have to welcome it, be open to it. You see? Because in our subtle labeling, even to call it as something not good or unpleasant, it's actually empowering it in some way.
Mm.
You know?
But is it going if attention is just letting it go, just
Yeah.
letting it be,
Yeah.
and even if it doesn't show anything visually, is that still it going? It's still
Yes.
going. It's
Yes. If
mm,
you're not making it part of your narrative, if you're not making it part of your story, you see, even if attention gets fully fixated by something when it comes, it is still going. You see, so
mm,
it's not really about trying to get a hold on your attention. It is more about not making it part of your story or giving it more meaning than it deserves, which is zero
mm.
meaning, by the way.
And it's realizing that there is this recognizing that there is this here, and not anything, but here is, and that's not always maybe so clear.
What is here, like my sense of beingness here, remains untouched by whatever may come and go. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, of
um
course.
but that's not always so clear, and in those
Yes.
moments it feels
But
very light.
what can
And
happen is
then
that spiritual knowledge sometimes can act as a subtle resistance. You see? Like what can happen sometimes is that, but I'm here, none of this is affecting me. You see, so it creates this sort of
mm,
resistance to it rather than just meeting it empty. You see, and saying, okay, I don't know anything about any of this. Let it
mm,
just come and go. Otherwise, it can become like a tactic or a ploy, and tactics actually many times are counterproductive. You see, so just to take this example, you may have heard this before. Many times, what people are trying to do is they're trying to love their ego to death. You see, they
mm,
realize that, oh, if you hate the ego or if you resist the ego, it only becomes stronger. Then the mind comes up with a smart solution and says, okay, therefore, then what I must do is I must embrace my ego till it dies. You see, but the ego is not that stupid, unfortunately, because it'll realize that it's just a new way of resisting. You see, it's like a pretend love, just waiting for something to die is not really love, isn't it? So, so we cannot use these tricks and tactics in that way. And you know, say I'm really open to you, but I'm open only because once I'm open, you will go. So that is not really open. You see what I'm saying? It's a bit
Yeah,
subtle.
yeah.
See? So, so because I tried, I wanted you not to come, and the more I wanted you not to come, you kept coming. Now I'm going to try a new thing so that you don't come. I'm going to welcome you to come, but I don't want you to come. So that is still closeness, you see, in the guise of openness.
It's the same voice that's can be seen
Exactly.
that comes after. Yes.
So true openness is
Mm.
whatever grace has in store for me, however long has it in store for me. That is surrender. Tough? Sounds tough? You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And if you
I
resist
feel
once
I
in a while, the good
huh.
news is that if you resist once in a while, it's okay. Everybody does. It's okay.
Mm. But I feel you're with me, and even now speaking with you, and just in general, and yeah.
Yeah. I'm always with you, my dear. Always
I
with
don't feel like this nervous feeling of before. I don't
you. Good.
feel that so much. Yeah.
That's very good. That's very good.
Thank you.
So,
Mm,
and I was very happy to hear in your report that Sri Ram is being a big support to you and a big help to you in all of this. And
absolutely amazing. Like no words. Yeah.
this is because you guys are in a good mood with each other right now. Or is it always like this?
No.
Don't worry, I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing him. He's not sent me any report, my dear. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All my love to both of you. All my love to both of
Thank
you. Are you in the UK now, or are you in Lithuania?
you. UK. Yeah. For the time being.
You miss Lucknow? No, you were quite done, no? By the time you left.
Yeah, maybe it was an okay time for us to move on. We would have loved to have come down to Bangalore, and still now it would be. Ah, but we'll see. Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, okay. Mm,
Good, good. Okay, let's catch up.
mm,
Thank you. One says, Father, then I offer this ancient annoyance of mine at your feet. Actually, I'm so happy for its surfacing and playing because it was repressed for a very long time. Yes, very good. Next one says, I have been believing much in understanding. Now, I just love to feel you. I have clearly gone beyond that. And just seeing and feeling it rejoices and feeds some trust in that. Very good. Very, very good. One of the greatest advantages of having the embodiment, like a living embodiment of the master in our lives, you see, is to see that it is possible. You see, it is possible. And that is the value of Guruji in our life, that uh, we see in this beautiful embodiment of the highest truth how it is possible to have a very natural life, you see, and yet so empty of all of this conditioning and ego. Till we meet a master, it just remains conceptual and in books. You see. So we need a representation, a manifest representation of that one which is pointing us to the Sadguru in our heart. You see, and yet to see one as an embodiment in manifest form is a beautiful pointer to the one that it represents in our heart. Thank you, thank you. So Karam wants to come. He can come in a moment. I just finish reading all these messages. Next one says, I surrender myself and everything that can be surrendered. I surrender the good, the bad, the in between, spiritual pride, life situation, all that I know, all sense of achievement, either bodily or in any plane, everything in any plane and possibility. If I have to choose only one thing to surrender, I surrender I. Very beautiful. Good, good, good. Next one says, sometimes when I feel so good here as here, feel so good here as here, the joy energy wants to go forth and create or invest in future ideals. You see, let it all be released. It is a happy distraction. You see, joy, the joy itself doesn't have a narrative. You see, it doesn't have a story. So everything that comes from this space of openness can be allowed and let it bless everything that it comes across with no expectation. You see. But to make a story around it is only the work of the mind. Future, invest, create, it's all just notions in the mind. So let the joy play. Don't give it that mental meaning. Don't presume to know what it is doing. Very good. Okay, Karam, you can come in.
Hi, Father. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
I can hear you, my
Hi,
dear.
Father. I just wanted to ask you, based on what we spoke last week,
Yeah,
uh, about taking on too many things and just accepting it
yeah.
as it was, as it is, and as it comes. I have a very big question that's been bothering me, that's been on
Oh,
the back of my head rather for the last 1 week, and I had to ask you about it.
please.
Um, how does if I am accepting everything that comes my way and just being a part of however it plays out, how do I make it so that I'm in that moment and not thinking about 100 other possibilities, whether that's in a work context or with people or myself? How do I be with that one thing and not shift from A to B?
Yeah. So accepting, you see, accepting everything is so broad. There is no space for past or future or any conceptual possibilities. You see? So we need to probably broaden our definition of accepting even more. You're already doing very well. You see, I can tell you're already doing very well. But maybe there's an idea of accepting, which means that I'm just accepting something conceptually. You see, now accept everything that is right now, and tell me if there is any room or any space for anything else to play. Is there any future left now?
No.
You see, and this will grow. You see, because our vision has become limited because our attention has got dissipated between looking at this manifest world and contemplating our thoughts or looking at our thoughts. You see, so we've not never really accepted even the manifest appearance of this world. You see, and as we are not so now caught up in our mental field, we start to feel like we are seeing the world for the first time actually. And in every moment in this appearance of this manifest, there's just so much here that there's no room to really think about the past or the future. You see, because and the minute we get into that, we are no longer accepting or open. We've got back into a constricted sort of field. So our vision becomes more universal. You see, so do an experiment now. Maybe you were here when I did this before, but maybe we can try again. look at this hand and look at it as clearly as you can, but also pay attention to a thought and think about the past or future. You see? And you'll notice
It's
that either
not,
the hand
yeah.
starts to become blurry, either the hand starts to become
Mhm.
blurry because attention goes to these thoughts, you see, so it becomes all dissipated and half. You see, so neither the thoughts are accepted clearly, nor the hand is accepted clearly. You see, but in the true acceptance, you see, we just there's so much. The minute this waking state starts, it's so full of all this light and sound and drama with all of this beautiful, you see, play of all these appearances, this magical play, magical movie starts to show up. There's really no space to think and to say, oh, how should I do this and how do I accept or not accept. Even all that is no room. So so the tip I have for you today is just continue to make your vision more universal. You see, allow yourself to meet even this manifest one fully, and that is true acceptance. And then tell me if there is room to confuse yourself with ideas of past and future. Even what is here in the moment, we cannot fully assimilate. Where is the room to think about future or past?
Hmm. I see what you mean.
So acceptance
Okay.
includes acceptance includes that. So anytime you feel like there is room for the mind to spin its yarn, you see, to
Hmm.
spin its, remember that we can broaden our acceptance even more. You see.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And this does not mean, by the way, that the mind or thoughts cannot appear. They can continue to appear and they can also be accepted in the moment. But what will happen is that you will not make it part of your narrative, which is the narrative of nobody. You see, it is not neither the narrative of the body, nor is it the narrative of the self. So it is the narrative of a fictional character, just like a character in a book. That is what we call the ego that we've just been building on to. You see. So as this narrative structure loses its potency, then you will realize that naturally you are accepting more. And then as you are accepting more, then you will see it's easier to drop the narrative as well. So it's a virtuous circle as opposed to the vicious circle of believing our thoughts, then becoming more constricted, then believing more thoughts and narratives about ourselves, and becoming more constricted. That's what humanity seems to be living in. You see, just going from bad to worse. But the minute we come in touch with openness or acceptance, then we start to loosen up a bit. We start to give life some space, make some space. And then you realize the magnificence of even this manifest creation. That's why this Leela or Maya is also called Mahamaya. It's a great Leela. It's tremendous. It's a beautiful design of the greatest creator. So, but we've been missing it. We've been missing this movie because we've only met it halfway because half our attention has been in what's in it for me. How do I deal with this stuff? You see, this kind of thing. In fact, the what's in it for me is like the Maha Mantra of the ego. You see, it needs to look at everything and grab it in some way. It cannot grab anything, you see, but it tries to spread its tentacles out everywhere and grab. But when we let go, you see, when we meet true openness and acceptance, then it's not about a me anymore. It's not about the story of this individual me anymore. And that's when we really meet life. We start to really live in that way. You see. We realize what a limitation what a limited way we were constricting our existence to, and now we come to this broad openness and we just, is it? So every moment becomes so full of wonder. So for a sage, sometimes you see, it can just feel like you're really concerned about this stuff which is going on in your head, but there's so much good stuff happening in this the rest of your existence. A simple way to put it is that you realize that the subtitles were all messed up, you see, and a lot of your focus was going on the subtitles. But now when you start watching the movie without the narrative structure, you start enjoying it so much. In fact, those are the movies I really enjoy the most anyway. That don't have such a sticky narrative, because all those stories are old now, like they're primitive. So, isn't it for most of us? We enjoy something which has some freshness to it, not the same old tropes. So, in the same way, in our life also, once we let go of the story of what's in it for me, you see, then you realize that wow, this seems to be a completely different ball game from what I thought it was.
Hmm.
I'm happy. I'm happy to hear from you, and my full blessings are with you that may you
Thank you.
continue
Thank you, Father.
to mature in your openness and acceptance.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Father.
Okay, so looks like that's about it. What did you want to hear? Some Devi Bhajan, no? Shall we play that one? Yeah, this one is nice.
गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी न ततो न माता न बन्धुर्न दाता न पुत्रो न पुत्री न भृत्यो न भर्ता न जाया न विद्या न वित्तिर्ममैव गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि 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 भवभवकारे महादुःखभीरु अपादप्रगामी प्रलोभे प्रमत्ता कुसंसारपाशप्रबद्ध्य सदाहं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि 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 न जानामि दानं न च ध्यानयोगं न जानामि तन्त्रं न च स्तोत्रमन्त्रम् न जानामि पूजां न च ध्यासयोगं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि 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 कुकर्मी कुसंगी कुबुद्धि कुदास कुलाचारहीन कदाचारहीन कुदृष्टि कुवाक्य प्रबन्धस्तदाहं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि 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 प्रजेशं रमेशं महेशं सुरेशं दिनेशं ऋषिकेश्वरं महाराजं न जानामि चान्यत् सदाहं शरण्ये गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि 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 विवादे विषादे प्रमादे प्रवासे जले चानले पर्वते शत्रुमध्ये अरण्ये शरण्ये सदा मां प्रपाहि गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि अनाथो दरिद्रो जरारोगयुक्तो महाक्षीणदीन सदा जड्यवक्त्र विपत्तु प्रविष्ट सदाहं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि 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 गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका
You know this one of my favorite ones from
ज्योत जागे ज्योत जागे मेरे आप भागे आनंद मंगल हो मेरी अम्बा ब्रह्मा जी वेद जपा है तेरे द्वारे मैया ब्रह्मा जी मेरे अम्बा, हे माता द्वारे जावा ब्रह्मा जी वेद जपा, है तेरे द्वारे शंकर ध्यान लगाए, मैया के द्वारे शंकर ध्यान लगाए, मैया के द्वारे शंकर ध्यान लगाए। अम्बा हे भगवान माता ज्योत जागे, ज्योत जागे मेरे पाप भागे, आनंद मंगल हो मेरी अम्बा, नारद नीरद करे तेरे द्वारे माया, नारद ने मेरी अम्बा, नारद द्वारे जावा, नारद नीरद करे तेरे द्वारे, मानव बीन बजावे मैया के द्वारे, कानूर बीन बजावे मेरी माँ के द्वारे, कानूर बीन बजावे। ज्योत जागे, ज्योत जागे मेरे पाप भागे, आनंद मंगल हो मेरी अम्बा, ब्रह्मा जी वेद जपा, है तेरे द्वारे मैया ब्रह्मा जी मेरे अम्बा, हे माता द्वारे जावा ब्रह्मा जी वेद जपा, है तेरे द्वारे शंकर ध्यान लगाए, मैया के द्वारे शंकर ध्यान लगाए, मैया के द्वारे शंकर ध्यान लगाए। अम्बा हे भगवान माता ज्योत जागे, ज्योत जागे मेरे पाप भागे, आनंद मंगल हो मेरी अम्बा, नारद नीरद करे तेरे द्वारे माया, नारद ने मेरी अम्बा, नारद द्वारे जावा, नारद नीरद करे तेरे द्वारे, कानूर बीन बजावे मैया के द्वारे, कानूर बीन बजावे मेरी माँ के द्वारे, कानूर बीन बजावे।
different representation of the same energy.
Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. 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 Jai Ganga Ma, 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 Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, 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 ama. Jai Ganga Ma. 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 Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga Ma, 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 Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, ama, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, ama, Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, ama, Jai Ganga Ma. 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 Jai Ganga Ma.
Jagangama, Jagangama, Jagangama.
Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga Ma, 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 Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, ama, Jai Ganga. Rishikesh. Ama, Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, 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 Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, 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 Jai Ganga Ma. Ama, 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 Jai Ganga Ma. 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 Jai Ganga Ma.
Ganga Jai Ganga Jai Ganga Ma. Tigangama, 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 Jigangama, 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 Ama, 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 Jigangama, Ama, Ama, Jigangama, Ama, Ama, Jigangama, Jai Gangama.
Gangama.
Ganga Jai Ganga Jai Gangama. Jai Ganga Jai. Jagangama, 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 Jagangama.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki jai.
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 Guru Baba
Prabhupada ji ki jai.
Jai.